Are you faking it till you make it at work, particularly when you're speaking? Do you feel exhausted and just a little bit icky afterwards? And would you like to stop, but don't know how, or don't know what else to do? Well, we are going to explore why you feel icky and exhausted in that faking it till you make it space at work. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to do something different to increase your impact and feel a lot more aligned every time you speak. Fake it till you make it is a really common expression, and we hear it all the time. And I was on a panel recently, and someone said, "What's your opinion on this?" And I gave an answer, and I came away and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not happy with that answer. I really, really need to think about this more deeply. And I've been mulling it over ever since. And here's what I think. There are so many occasions where I feel women in leadership, women in communication scenarios feel like they have to fake it till they make it. And there's a couple of reasons why this is really not helpful for us. So I often hear women who are returning from maternity leave feeling like they've got to suddenly fake it back in work, that they're not quite the same person that they were before, and they don't really know how they fit or where they fit, and so they're having to fake it. I've heard women talk about this when they've been promoted from within a team, and suddenly they're managing the team and suddenly have to fake this new version of themselves. When people get new roles, I hear that again when they've got a new task within the same role and they're having to do it. And I hear it most often when they have to present, when they have to pitch, when they're asking for additional money. That might be pay rises personally for them or additional money for projects. Those are really, really common areas where women feel they've got to fake who they are and how they're showing up and how they're speaking, how they're communicating in order to get a thing done. So why? Why do we feel like we have to fake it till we make it? And I really have had a long think about this, and it's fear, right? Fear. We fake it till we make it because of fear. And there's 2 really different and very distinct fears that are going on. There's an internal fear and there's an external fear. So let's talk about that external fear first of all, right? Your impact is being reduced when we fear external judgment. And so we fake it because we feel like we've got to fit in with what we perceive everybody else expects from us. And so our impact is massively reduced because we don't feel like ourselves. We're not communicating from an authentic place. We're presenting from a place of where we think they think we should be. It's really, really complicated. It is incredibly unsustainable. We cannot pretend to be someone we're not for long periods of time. We can do it for short periods of time, and it might be effective for a short period of time. But over a long period of time, that is going to lead to burnout really, really quickly. The other thing that reduces your impact here, if you are faking it till you're making it because you're fearful of external judgment, is that it will feel hollow. It will feel hollow to you, but it will feel hollow to your listeners, and they won't quite know why, but they will kind of go, yeah, no, I don't buy into it. So the impact is lost there. And because it's not aligned to who you are, it leaves you feeling icky. The other thing I commonly hear around this in this area when you're faking it till we make it because we're trying to fit with what somebody else wants is that it ends up being quite a masculine energy, particularly if you're a woman working in an all male or a very male dominated environment or industry, that the energy ends up being quite masculine and it's not really aligned to who we are. And that's what makes us feel uncomfortable and icky afterwards. So I said there were 2 kinds of fear. That was the external fear. That fear of judgment pushes us to fake it till we make it. The second fear is an internal fear. And that is a fear that we are not enough, that we are not experienced enough, we're not old enough, we're not young enough, we are not smart enough, you fill in the blank. I'm sure you have your own version of that. But the problem is We reduce our impact when we have that internal fear and we're faking it till we make it because of that internal fear. We will be less physically and vocally behind our idea. We will back off physically and vocally. We'll use more hedging language. We'll do all kinds of things that diminish and undermine the impact of what we're trying to say. We'll also over-justify and over-evidence everything that we have to say, and that will make it dull as ditch water. And we end up not selling the vision. We just send the kind of tactics and the strategy just to prove just how good it is. And we aren't present. We're not there. If that internal fear is really high, there's just a whole load of noise going on inside our head. And so we're not fully present. We're not fully aware of what the audience needs from us. And so we pull back. And they pull back because they're like, she's not this. I don't believe this. There's not enough oomph behind the idea. And so our audience pulls away. So those are the two reasons why you lose impact if you're faking it till you make it, because fear is driving the bus. Fear of judgment, fear that we're not good enough. But there is a way, and I promised you 3 ways that you could use faking it till you make it to actually increase your impact. And it's really, really simple. You fake it till you make it in your mind, first of all. This is the most effective version of faking it till you make it. So this is about visualizing what it's going to be like. So visualize going into that meeting, visualize standing up in front of that audience, visualize wowing your interviewer. So how would the best version of you sit, stand, walk, sell that idea? Running that through in your head, first of all, is going to help you be that person when it actually happens. And the reason for that, your brain cannot tell the difference between a visualization, something that's never happened, and a memory, something that has happened. As far as your brain is concerned, it is the same thing. So fake it till you make it inside your own head as often and as frequently as you possibly can. Because when you do, you're creating that sense of memory. Your body will move into that space. Your mind will move into that space the minute you stand up to speak. So number 1, that was the tip number 1, visualize as much as you can and as often as possible. Then number 2, this is about borrowing. So there are areas of your life where you are supremely confident, where you can show up authentically, that you have the right energy, that you have connection with other people. Where in your life are you already doing that? Borrow that behavior. So whoever it is that you talk to, whoever it is where you feel like you can be really authentic and powerfully persuasive, borrow those behaviors. So in the first few moments of standing up to talk or talking in the meeting or adding your ideas, borrow those behaviors. Really kind of step into borrowing them and know that it is authentic. You're not faking it. This is just borrowing a behavior. You don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to keep it on, but just for those first few sentences or that first time of speaking up in a meeting or those first few moments in an interview, borrow those behaviors. So that's tip number 2, borrow the behaviors. Tip number 3, being. Who are you being? So this is something that I would encourage and I do encourage all my clients to ask themselves is like, in this moment, who am I being? So it might be, I am being someone who's cheerleading myself to really articulate this idea well. I am being someone who shares my ideas willingly. I am being someone who's raising the energy in this room. I am being someone who is going to defend this idea because it's really, really good. I'm going to be someone who asks confidently and straightforwardly for money because we need it for this, or I deserve this money because I have done an amazing job this year. So who are you being in that moment is a really brilliant question to ask. And if you can combine all 3 tips, doing that amazing visualization, borrowing that behavior from somewhere else in your life where you're already doing it, and being really clear about who you are being, you won't have to fake it. It will be you in a new scenario using behaviours that you use elsewhere. Now, I'm not saying it isn't going to feel stretchy, because there's still going to be scenarios where it's going to feel stretchy, but you won't feel like you're faking it, and it is completely and utterly sustainable. Now, if you have found this video helpful, interesting, then you're probably going to stick around and watch this video here, which is going to help you even more. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.